Imagine standing on the biggest, most unforgiving stage in world football, the FIFA World Cup 2026. The stadium floodlights are blinding. The roar of 70,000 fans is absolutely deafening. The entire world is watching your every single move through a camera lens. You are the underdog. You are facing a monstrous golden Belgian side that strikes fear into the hearts of defenders worldwide. You know deep down that opportunities will be incredibly rare. You know that one single magical moment can turn you into a national hero, a legend whose name will be echoed for generations to come. But what happens when that exact moment arrives and instead of taking glory, you absolutely choke? What happens when a supposed tactical masterclass turns into a brutal psychological breakdown? Welcome back to Total Football Nexus. Today, we are not just looking at a simple match review or a boring sheet of statistics. We are going to dissect a tragedy on the pitch. We are going to uncover the brutal, uncomfortable truth about how New Zealand completely collapsed against Belgium. Was it just bad luck? Absolutely not. It was a rapid domino effect of 5 catastrophic, unforgivable mistakes. Grab your seat and pay close attention because this is going to be a heavy, eye-opening ride. Let us start with the first disaster. The ultimate turning point of the entire game, the unforgivable failure inside the penalty box. In modern football, especially when you are playing against a powerhouse European giant like Belgium, you do not get 10 clear chances to score. You get 1, maybe 2 if you're lucky. And when that golden, match-defining opportunity lands perfectly at the feet of your main striker, he has to be cold. He has to be utterly ruthless. But what did we witness today on the pitch? Total, paralyzing hesitation. In the most crucial moment of the match, when the scoreline could have shifted entirely, when the entire momentum of the game was hanging by a thread, the New Zealand striker panicked. It was not just a poorly timed missed shot, it was a complete psychological collapse. The lack of sheer confidence, the frantic rush of blood to the head, the trembling boots. It was painful for any football fan to watch. He had the opening goal right at his mercy, but instead of finding the back of the net, he found the weight of the immense pressure simply too heavy to bear. That single miss did not just keep the scoreboard at 0, it broke the fighting spirit of the entire team. A goal right there would have completely rewritten the entire script of the match. It would have planted a seed of doubt in the Belgian squad and forced them to step back. But instead, that miss gave Belgium the absolute undeniable confidence that they simply could not be hurt today. But a missed goal at the front is only half of the tragic story. What happened at the exact opposite end of the pitch was nothing short of a tactical nightmare. This brings us to our second catastrophic failure, the absolute surrender to speed and the total humiliating collapse of the defensive wings. Belgium came into this high-stakes game with explosive wingers who do not just run on the grass, they fly. And the New Zealand fullbacks, they were completely, utterly destroyed from the very first whistle. The right and left backs looked like they were trapped playing in slow motion against high-speed freight trains. They could not cope with the sheer terrifying pace, the quick footwork, and the sudden agility of the Belgian attack. Time and time again, Belgium launched blistering, terrifying counterattacks straight down the flanks. The opposition's overlapping runs were relentless, coming wave after wave. The New Zealand defenders were left repeatedly grasping at thin air, completely clueless, out of breath, and horribly out of position. They were so easily outsmarted, easily bypassed, and completely humiliated in front of millions watching. The wings were left wide open, creating a massive, unopposed highway for Belgium to simply drive the ball straight into the danger zone whenever they pleased. It was the complete and total surrender of the defensive flanks. The wings were bleeding profusely, and the attack was embarrassingly blunt. But surely you would naturally think the core midfield could somehow hold the fort and bring stability, right? Wrong. In fact, the absolute disaster that was silently waiting in the middle of the pitch was far, far worse. Because what exactly happens when you commit the ultimate sin of football and leave the most dangerous man on the entire field completely alone?
Welcome to Part 2. If you thought the defense on the wings was a terrifying horror show, brace yourself for the absolute disaster that took place right in the beating heart of the midfield. The third fatal flaw of this match was the complete marking catastrophe by the defensive midfielder. In the beautiful game of football, whoever bravely controls the midfield ultimately controls the destiny of the entire match. And today, New Zealand politely handed that supreme control over to Belgium on a shiny silver platter. The primary, non-negotiable job of a defensive midfielder is to be the unbreakable shield, the fierce destroyer, the reliable man who obsessively tracks the most dangerous runs. But today, the New Zealand defensive midfielder was completely asleep at the steering wheel. How on earth do you leave a world-class maestro like Kevin De Bruyne completely unmarked, just lingering outside the penalty box? It is the ultimate, unpardonable sin in international football. It was absolute, undeniable tactical suicide. De Bruyne was happily roaming free in the absolute most dangerous areas of the pitch, easily dictating the tempo and casually picking out killer passes with zero pressure on his back. The zonal marking system that New Zealand tried to deploy was completely broken and scattered. There was no desperate tracking back in time, no aggressive, suffocating pressing, just vast, empty, terrifying spaces. By generously giving away this massive pocket of green grass, New Zealand allowed Belgium to comfortably orchestrate a terrifying storm of attacks straight down the middle of the throat. But a weak, passive midfield only dangerously exposes a fragile defense even further, and that directly leads us to the fourth devastating error, the suicidal positional play of the center backs and the spectacular, embarrassing failure of the offside trap. If the central defense is the rigid backbone of a team, today New Zealand played with a completely shattered spine. Surviving against top-tier, physically imposing European strikers requires perfect positioning, loud communication, and absolutely flawless timing. The New Zealand center back hopelessly lacked all three of these basic traits today. He was physically dominated, easily pushed around, and bullied by the towering Belgian forwards. But the real, unforgivable crime was the disastrous, poorly calculated attempt to play an aggressive offside trap. Listen carefully. You only dare to play a high offside trap when your entire backline is perfectly mechanically synchronized. But today, the timing was horribly, laughably off. By stepping up the defensive line at the exact wrong fatal millisecond, the center back practically rolled out a luxurious red carpet for the speeding Belgian attackers, directly giving them a clear, uncontested, glorious path straight to the isolated goalkeeper. It was not just a simple human mistake, it was a deliberate defensive suicide mission that absolutely guaranteed their own miserable destruction. Finally, we reach the fifth and absolute final nail in the New Zealand coffin, the absolute mental paralysis of the playmaker and the terrifying, shocking weakness in attacking transitions. When you are forced to absorb wave after punishing wave of relentless Belgian attacks, your team desperately needs an escape route. You need that one brave midfielder who can confidently put his foot on the ball, calm the raging chaos, look up, and launch a sharp counterattack. But the specific player trusted with this immense, vital responsibility completely crumbled and shattered under the immense pressure. Every single time New Zealand magically managed to win the ball back, they instantly, nervously gave it right back away. Faced with the relentless, suffocating, organized high press of the Belgian squad, the playmaker simply panicked out of his mind. He was nervous, his passes were horribly erratic, and he was utterly incapable of holding possession to let his teammates breathe. Instead of smartly creating attacks, he was literally passing the ball straight to the feet of the enemy, eagerly resetting the Belgian attack machine over and over again. The midfield was tragically reduced to a skeletal, ghost-like state, totally incapable of keeping the ball safely for more than 5 miserable seconds. This constant, draining loss of possession meant New Zealand could never catch their breath. They were hopelessly trapped in a relentless, exhausting cycle of defending, making it mathematically and physically impossible to survive the 90 minutes. Belgium did not just win today because of their brilliance. New Zealand literally handed them the easy victory through pure fear, shocking hesitation, and massive, unbelievable tactical failures across the entire pitch. But watching this total systemic collapse naturally raises a massive lingering question in the minds of football fans everywhere. How do underdog teams usually survive these massive giants on the world stage? There is actually a highly guarded secret tactical blueprint that smaller nations use to shock the footballing world, an exact strategy that New Zealand completely foolishly ignored today. What do you think was the absolute biggest disaster for New Zealand in this match? Drop your thoughts in the comments section below. Let's get a real football debate going. If you craved this deep, unfiltered tactical breakdown, make sure to smash that like button and share this video with every football fanatic you know. Hit that subscribe button and join the Total Football Nexus family so you never miss a masterpiece. Your support fuels the passion. Until next